for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Garrard, 97. Dude, I'm so sorry.
I was singing Sublime right there.
I was just sitting there. I'm sitting here watching the draft, and I completely zoned out.
That was not a reflex action.
Totally was.
That's great.
I was actually hoping that you would just keep going, and then
holy
we're
crap!
like,
I feel awful, man. I'm so sorry.
That'd be great. I'd love to be on your show.
Hey, you guys are welcome on the show.
Hey, listen.
Wow, I feel like a complete jerk.
You should have said Ben. You should have said Jake and Ben. That would have actually been. That would have made it even.
Hi, Ben.
Hello.
You're like, what did I walk into?
Yeah.
3 different shows combining into one. Listen, Scotty. I was like, it's just. But you know what? That is a real reflex. It's a real reflex.
It really is.
It is something that we're all used to doing. By the way, Ben Anderson's walked onto the set here, and. Listen, JCW's is a great place to have a party, and I've been telling people all day, you can either drown your sorrows with a shake or you can celebrate with a shake. So come down and do either one of them at any of the JCWs across the valley. 5 locations. We're here at the Harriman location. You can come down and take advantage of Scott's generosity, and get a combo meal out of him, and I'll double it as well. So if you want to come down, date night will be on us here at the KSL Sports Zone.
We had a listener come by, and he was here already, but his wife's coming in.
Oh,
and she's a little ways away. So if you beat her down, then you
did
can
you already
have
get the one though? So are we doing the twofer? Okay, we're gonna do the twofer. Look, I'll encourage a date night, especially if if we're facilitating romance.
Yeah.
Then I'm all about it.
By the way, does he look familiar?
He does. Why does he look so familiar? Oh, he's a foreign. You know what? Ineligible. I was like wondering. No, you know what? No, I was just kidding. Look, we have some long list of things that disqualify people, right? And I think you know what? Yeah. Hold on. Is this the doctor brother
man.
then? Also, no. It's, yeah. And if you were going to be the doctor brother, then I definitely wouldn't have gotten it for you.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Right.
Let's not get the Bonneville no fun policing on this. No kidding.
All right. So we've got lots going on, and yes.
Did you guys just walk in?
Hold on. You might have somebody cash it in right here. Let's do it.
Hey.
Is it just the one?
Scotty's taking him to dinner.
Is it just the one or the double?
I think you got the kid.
We got the double? Let's do it. You want what? You want to? I've got you covered here. So whenever you guys are ready, that's how we do it. Just
boom.
We double
dinner
it up
on
there.
us.
Dinner on the draft coverage here. Ben Anderson, by the way, walking in. Jake, of course, was on with DJ during his time frame. We bring in the big guns, Ben Anderson and Scotty for this hour. Obviously, JJ, we've got lots going on. Our program brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. And then, of course, this hour also brought to you by the good folks at Trajan Wealth for all your local trusted needs in retirement. Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth.com. It's been a lot of hours of us walking up to talking about this as a station. You guys as a show, obviously, people lean on your expertise all the time, Ben, so I'm going to do the same. From a historical standpoint, we've never had a year like this for the Jazz where we all kind of knew what the plan was. We all winked at each other without really making it official, and yet here we were. You get the extension for the coach who dutifully did his job to get to the Jazz to 15 or was it 15 or what was he?
17, 65.
17 and 65.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about this? Because it's a weird time in Jazz history, and obviously you don't want to put everything of the future to go straight on to this one moment, but that's how I think we kind of feel as a community here.
I know there's a lot of anxiety about this pick, and rightfully so. You get the number 1 overall guy. As good as Cooper Flagg is, it's going to be transformational. It gives your team a pathway. It gives your team an identity. The nice thing for the Jazz is regardless of what they do, they are adding what would equate the 5th highest pick they've ever had in franchise history, even if they fall to 5, which is not ideal. It's not what you want because we remember Dante Exum, we remember Enes Kanter Freedom. It's certainly not what you want, but you are adding another one of the best assets you've ever added to your trade stock, and truthfully, it's the best asset you've had since you traded Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. So you're still getting to the point where you're at the bottom of this rebuild, and the bottom of the deconstruction, I guess I should say, and you're getting a huge asset. And if you get number 1, incredible. If you get number 2, I think you're still very excited. If you get to number 3, you're putting it in Danny Ainge's hands with Lowry Markkanen and some of these other pieces, all these $60 million in expiring contracts and young players, and you're saying, okay, go to work. Now you got to start building a roster. Now you got to stop the deconstruction. You got to start building something up. But you have assets and you have pieces to do.
I like the term deconstruction way more than tanking. Tanking sounds
that was a nice way of saying
deconstruction sounds like I would have read it out of like a memo from the team or something.
Hey, you sent out a tweet that I think is really important. I sent out kind of the draft order. And you want this to go chalk as much as possible, because if somebody's out of order, then that means
someone's jumped up.
Things aren't good. So everybody's like, well, I'm not going to pay attention until the top 3 or 4. No,
you start from the beginning.
You need to start from the very beginning. Yep. So kind of walk us through that, if you're okay with that tweet that you sent out, and what to look for tonight.
Yeah, we could know as soon as 8 if the Jazz have fallen to 5. If the Pelicans get the 8th pick, there's no other pathway that it could have happened unless the Jazz fell to 5th, because that means all 4 lottery spots that can be filled. Remember, the lottery only fills the top 4 spots. It means 4 other teams have jumped in. And the Jazz can't jump in. The Jazz are in right now.
So the lowest that the Pelicans can go is 8.
And if they're at 8, that means the Jazz have fallen to 5.
Correct.
But even if they are not there, if the Hornets are at 7, it means the Jazz have fallen to 5. Even if the Hornets are not there, if the Pelicans are at if the Wizards are at 6, it means the Jazz have fallen to 5.
If the Hornets are at 6, also that is also a tell, or no?
No, because the Jazz could still stay at number 1, and 4 teams could have jumped the Hornets to get there. So you're really looking at Pelicans at 8, Hornets 7, Wizards 6.
You know what it just became? Must listen to. 8 through 5.
So just because usually I don't spend a lot of time looking at the lottery, but. 14 is Atlanta, but it's going to the Spurs.
Via the
will they,
DeJounte Murray trade.
Yeah, so will they announce Atlanta or will they announce San Antonio?
They'll announce the Spurs because that trade is done.
Okay, and then at 13, will they announce Sacramento or Atlanta?
If it's not there, it means it's gone up to the top 4, and it actually will go back to Sacramento. Because Sacramento, I think it's top 5.
Yeah, so you want it to say Atlanta.
Something
you want to say Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what about 9 with Phoenix and the Rockets?
You want to see the Rockets pop up. There's no protections on that. That's just one of the horrendous whiffs that the Phoenix Suns have gotten themselves
What a mess
into.
They
Good
have.
for them.
Okay.
Good for them.
I just want to make sure everybody knows what to look for when the envelopes open up.
Yeah,
all right.
you want that's what you want to see.
Well, we'll look over at the representative from. I look at this like this is a big time move for the Jazz. You know, obviously tonight with nothing for them to be able to Is Akeem Olajuwon the rep for the for the Rockets there tonight? Nice.
They have a 3.8% chance.
Gosh, and you know what? We just watched the hockey team get their 1.5% chance. We were just talking about this earlier too. Nico Harrison, they have a better shot numerically than the Utah Hockey Club, or now the Mammoth, had to move up in the draft to 10 spots. And so here we are. That's where if the Mavericks hit somehow on that, then we'll all just throw your hands up. We have nothing to be able to. All right, so as you're starting to look at this thing, we're not going to get the reality of where these teams are going to end up. They're going to start opening up envelopes here in the next few moments. And when those things start to happen live, our producer Alex will get in our ear, and we'll get to those, and then we'll get some reaction as soon as those things happen as well. So Alex is going to get in our ear and tell us when we're ready to hear some of those. Wait, is Zion Williamson the guy for the Pelicans today?
He is.
Hey, there you go. Bring some
Zion. This could be his last action for the Pelicans.
Well, I'll tell you.
Zion's looking svelte, by the way. That's probably why he wanted to show up.
I think that's why they wanted to roll him out. They're all this could be one of the trade assets that the Jazz are looking at. They're rolling out Zion Williamson. They're like, yeah, man, his BMI's down. As we go through all of this, when you see the people who've been evaluating these numbers 1 through 5, where the Jazz are going to be picking somewhere in there, as we see Ashley Smith up on the screen, and we get a little, hey, it's okay for you guys to cheer.
You can
applaud. All get excited about it. Come on, we got to get some.
Oh, here come the envelopes.
The envelopes have been walked up. Oh, nope, not yet. They go, no, not yet, Craig.
I like how they always got to say, the representatives of Ernst & Young.
Is it still, did they still do that?
It's still Ernst & Young.
So Ernst & Young, didn't they blow it at the Oscars, though, a few years ago?
La La Land.
I don't trust those guys anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not
I guess it wasn't enough to lose the NBA account. Fortunate for them.
All right, so
here comes
we're watching somebody walk up to the podium.
Deputy Commissioner's coming up.
Mark Tatum.
Well, let's throw it out here to the podium, and Mark Tatum is at the representing the NBA here. So let's take a listen here as the envelopes start to get open.
Thank you, Kevin, and good luck, everyone. The 14th pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, presented by State Farm, will be made by the San Antonio Spurs.
San Antonio receives this pick from Atlanta due to the DeJounte Murray trade in 2022.
The 13th pick goes to the Atlanta Hawks.
As expected, Atlanta receives this pick from Sacramento due to the Kevin Huerter trade in 2022.
Picking 12th in the NBA Draft will be the Chicago Bulls. The 11th pick belongs to the Portland Trail Blazers.
That means Dallas has moved inside the top 4. The Mavericks have never won the lottery.
Pick number 10 will be made by the Houston Rockets.
Houston receives this pick from Phoenix due to multiple previous trades.
The 9th pick goes to the Toronto Raptors.
That means the Spurs are in the top 4 with 2 teams jumping into the top 4. That means the Sixers will lose their pick to the Thunder because it's outside the top 6.
The 8th pick in the NBA Draft belongs to the Brooklyn Nets. Pick number 7 will be made by the New Orleans Pelicans. Picking 6th, the Washington Wizards.
Correction now. That means Philadelphia is in the top 4. So they make the jump, and suddenly Jared McCain is riding the roller coaster we all are inside this room. The Sixers are in the top 4.
The 5th pick in the NBA Draft will be made by the Utah Jazz.
So,
Well, there you go, folks.
The numbers bear it out. We're not going to get the top 4. They're going to take
scenario.
They're going to take another break here on TV. As you saw, executives from the 76ers organization put their heads on the table. Same thing happened here at the JCWs in Harriman with Jazz fans as soon as that number 5 pick came up. Although Ben Anderson, who's sitting next to us, the thing that tipped our hand was as soon as you saw the Wizards at 6, the fix was in. The Jazz were going to be that 5th pick. So now, what is your best option at number 5?
What a disaster.
Takes you out of Dylan Harper, takes you out of Ace Bailey, Edgecombe probably.
Probably takes you out of Edgecombe.
Yeah, I think you're looking at
Trey Johnson.
Trey Johnson's going to be a name that's going to be talked about. Con Knipple is a name that's going to be talked about. There's a chance one of Ace Bailey or VJ Edgecombe falls to 5.
Hey, so
you've got to go through these workouts, and that's what's going to determine.
All right, so I want to take you back to 2007, and Danny Ainge had a 19% chance of being the number 1 overall pick. He had the second worst record in the league. He slips all the way back to 5, and Boston said, "Okay, we're not going to get Kevin Durant. So what are we going to do?" Well, that on draft night, he ends up trading for Ray Allen, and then a few weeks later ends up trading for Kevin Garnett. And they're like, we're not.
That's the core of the championship.
And they went from 24 wins to 66 wins the next year. So now, Danny, you look, Lady Luck didn't go your way, so now you may have to create it your own. And I don't know how that goes on, if it's you get in the Giannis sweepstakes or if you get into the Zion sweepstakes. I don't know what it's going to look like.
What would be the path? We obviously have no idea what those deals are, but what would be that would be quite a turn for the Utah Jazz at this point, seeing how this didn't work for them in that sense, to completely turn around and go, okay, now we're going to go out in the trade market, now we're going to go get some vets, and now we're going to try to win now. That would be a drastic turn.
It would.
It's entirely possible, though.
Yeah.
But it would be a drastic turn. And I would understand at this point, like, you just went through a 17-65 season for the 5th pick in the draft. How much more pain can you deal with? Because now you're right back in the lottery if you just roll back.
Well, and now your fan base is like, wait a minute, we're going to bottom this thing out for a number 5 pick
again.
Yeah.
So
right.
So that was my question. Is
the
that
Pistons
now,
just did this 2 years in a row?
Yeah, and now do you look at it and you say, okay, because things have shifted so much, I mean, do people look at that and say, and you do have all these assets, and the big game hunting, I think, is a constant thing, right, for this organization. I mean, they're not saying like there's a certain time of year that they're going to be doing this. It's not necessarily during the year. So what does the summer suddenly turn into for this team? Obviously, draft night's going to have a lot to do with it, but does it turn into the way that this team gets these assets is through trades, which is where you get most of the big names out of the pool of the NBA. If they're not in the draft, the best way to get guys is by trading for them.
There's going to be talk about Giannis and that type of thing. What we have to watch for still is because the top 4 teams still that we have not figured out who's drafting in the top 4 or what order is the Hornets, the Sixers, the Spurs, and the Mavs. The Sixers, the Spurs, and the Mavs are the 3 teams that should chase Giannis with a top 4 draft pick. They don't need Ace Bailey or VJ Edgecombe or even Dylan Harper. I think if you get Cooper Flagg, you hang on to him. But one of those 3 teams, not the Hornets, I think that's, they don't need Giannis at this point. One of those 3 teams, if they are at 2, 3, or 4, their first phone call should be Milwaukee and saying, hey, we've got these high draft picks. We might have some young players, whatever you're looking for. We can match salaries. Let's see if we can work out a Giannis deal right away. So even then, you're pushing the Jazz, because of falling to 5, further down this ability to even go out and chase the biggest stars. That's the hard part about this. If you had gotten the number 2 overall pick, maybe you said, well, Dylan Harper's not the guy, but maybe you can get into those conversations, and now you don't have to include Lauri Markkanen. Now, if you're going to make a trade like that, you have to include Lowry, and it doesn't make sense because you're so far back to go out and get an all-star.
This is such a gut punch.
Oh, it really is.
It's such a gut punch.
We kind of saw
it sucks.
As soon as 6 came in and Ben yelled out to us right here, that means the Jazz are falling to 5, and then you see them pull, and then you see the collective groan in the room here at JCW's. That was a gut punch. But did I see Cooper Flagg is at the draft?
Yeah, the draft lottery.
Or at the draft lottery, I mean.
Yeah. The top guys are.
So the top guys are at the lottery. They're in there. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're still going to take these top 4 picks. I still think it's going to be fascinating to see who these teams are who are going to get these top 4 picks.
I can't believe the Spurs.
Are they going to give? Are they going to? They reward Nico for dismantling that team or giving him a number 1 pick?
So you've got the Hornets, you've got the 76ers, the Spurs, and the Mavericks are up for the Cooper Flagg lottery. And you know what's wild? If you would have told me that the Mammoth were going to move up further in the draft.
Can you imagine the Sixers adding Cooper Flagg to that roster?
Oh, my goodness.
Man, Tatum in that smug look. I want to smack him.
Oh, my goodness.
He's like, it's all gone to plan.
All right, so now we're pulling these other envelopes. Let's
so
take a
help
listen.
me of San Antonio.
Here comes our top 4. We'll go back to the draft. So here we go.
Oh, my gosh.
Goes to the Charlotte Hornets. Picking 3rd will be the Philadelphia 76ers. The 2nd pick will be made by the San Antonio Spurs, and that means that the number 1 pick in the 2025 NBA Draft goes to the Dallas Mavericks.
Rolando Blackman.
Was it Rolando Blackman who was at the, of course, Dallas Mavericks legend? That's
why am I in a bad mood about this? I'm not a Jazz fan. I just
where's
wanted
DJ? Remember in the 3 o'clock hour, David James Center saying, it's no big deal what happens. Good.
Who cares?
You guys are complaining. You should be a San Diego sports fan.
Oh, he didn't pull the San Diego.
Oh, he absolutely did.
Of course he did. So
we should be grateful.
All right, so the number 2 pick went to the team because the odds that the Spurs had were what? To move up to this
7. I think they were in the 8th spot.
So
that was a 6% odds to win it.
So they had
top 4 pick odds were 26%.
Okay, so the odds that the Mavericks were going to get that number 1 pick were 1.8%.
Yep.
And we kept laughing about it and making fun of it. Well, that's what the hockey team needed. They needed 1.5%.
They moved up 10 spots to get the number 1 pick.
And the Mavericks and Nico Harrison is given a lifeline by the weirdest universe we've ever seen give a lifeline to somebody after all this is done. And I guess you could say, but now at the same time, I don't know how you take this as a Jazz fan to go, Spurs Mavericks, by the way, are your 2 and 1 picks. 2 to the Spurs, 1 to the Mavericks. Did they say
the Spurs are going to add Dylan Harper?
Is it the 70s?
They've got Stephon Castle, who just won NBA Rookie of the Year. They've got Victor Wembanyama, and now they're going to add Dylan Harper to that mix. The Jazz have got to deal with that for the next decade.
By the way, this is the third.
On top of the Thunder as well.
Yeah,
this is the third straight year that the team with the worst record has gotten the 5th pick.
Yeah.
The numbers weren't good. You knew they weren't going to be. It was just under 48%. I think that the Jazz had to get that 5th pick. 14%. We already said it. Don't set your watch by 14% ever. And yet we went through the season knowing that pain was going to come with something. Again, a top 5 pick at the very least was going to be something you knew was going to happen. But if Cooper Flagg will likely go to the Dallas Mavericks, and suddenly we're all looking at each other with our mouths open going, what did we just freaking witness? Another insane draft lottery by the NBA. Nice job, Adam Silver. You did it again.
The top 2 players in this draft are going to go to the Western Conference.
Yeah, and that seems to happen every year, especially when it's a player of this caliber.
Yeah.
It's Zion, it's Wemby, it's even going back to Yao Ming. When it's the superstar number 1, they stay in the West. When it's Zachary Rizachet, they go to the Atlanta Hawks. You know, the West is just so brutal.
What was Dallas's order that they were supposed to be? Were they
number 11?
11th? Or
they moved up 10 spots.
All right. Well,
was that the worst case scenario that possibly could have happened?
I think
where the Jazz fall to 5th, and 2 teams that are already one player away from being right back in the playoff mix get number 1 and number 2. And they're both in the West.
I would have.
What a devastating exercise!
I would have walked off the show and gotten an extra large shake on my way out. From JCW's, if it was the Spurs, though, who would have gotten that number 1? But I would have been like, this is beyond conspiracy at this point.
I will say, honestly, the conspiracy theorists, myself included, can have a heyday with this one.
Of course,
an absolute heyday where you got a great NBA market in Dallas. You got a GM who tried to scuttle it. Who knows? Maybe the NBA. Okay, I'm just joking here when I say this, but maybe Luka's. And the Lakers are like, hey, we need to get this thing done. Nico, you got to fall on the sword here, and
we'll make it happen.
But we'll make it up to you in the back end.
Stay close to the phone on May 12th because it'll be an important day for you.
Wow.
I just the tough thing that it is the worst case scenario, JJ. You know why? Because I think a lot of us thought 5th is probably where they're going to be.
If the Wizards win the lottery, you're like, good for them.
5,
they deserve
Philadelphia,
it. Even
whatever.
if the 76ers get there, you kind of go, well, gosh darn it, well, whatever. But again, when it's the Spurs
and the Mavericks, it's 2 teams in the West that are ahead of the Jazz in this process, honestly, right?
Yeah, mm-hmm. I'm officially out.
You felt like the Mavs are on the way out, and then they get this pick, and now it's like they're going to add Cooper Flagg along with Anthony Davis and some of the other talent they have.
Okay.
They're going to be in the playoffs next year.
So hockey did this too.
We're a hockey town.
Yeah. Hey, get your Utah Mammoth season tickets now.
Hockey did this. The Islanders were what? They were supposed to pick
10th.
Yeah, they moved up 10. They moved up 9 spots.
And the Mammoth were supposed to pick 14th, and they go up 10 spots too. Both of them had a single-digit chance of moving up to where they did. And then how do you get the same freaking results with the dadgum NBA draft?
Well, here's actually what I think the problem is that the NBA thought they were solving, and they did the inverse. By flattening out the draft lottery, they thought they were going to get fewer teams tanking because it meant, you're going to be the Jazz, you're going to be Detroit, you're going to go from 1 to 5. Well, clearly nobody has stopped tanking. The Jazz tanked all year. Yep. Charlotte tanked all year. New Orleans
would be some
tanked
version
all
of this.
year.
Philadelphia pulled
Everyone
off an incredible tank.
What you need to do is actually raise the odds of the worst teams getting it. Because then the 7th team, 8th team, 9th team knows they're not going to get to 17 wins. They're going to have 17 wins by the end of January. Yeah. So they don't have a reason to keep losing games. By flattening the lottery, they've included all these other teams, but then you get these terrible spots like Charlotte's in. Detroit actually got the number 1 pick and got Cade and got a way out, but now the Jazz are in these tough spots where how do you get out? How do the Wizards get out, if you're getting the 5th pick and the 6th pick? And the NBA thought they were fixing it, and I think they might have made the problem worse.
Yeah. So we're anticipating a Zoom call, a Zoom media conference with Justin Zanik, the general manager of the Utah Jazz. Obviously, look, this team has been ready for whatever the scenario would be. I think that smart money, smart people like the Jazz front office would look and say, look, we're going to prepare for everything here, but let's from a standpoint of if you get the 5th pick, which, by the way, that the 5th pick is the best odds. again, the part that we you notice that we're okay with. It's not that we're okay with it. The 5th pick felt like something we knew was going to be likely in the cards. It's the people who got 1 and 2. I don't think that gut punches guys like Justin Zanik and Danny Ainge as much. Maybe I'm speaking. Maybe those guys are carrying a little bit more a rancor because of the of what they just saw with that. But in my mind, this result. The 5th pick is going to be the same person that they probably would have ended up getting anyway. Does that change at all? The 5th person that they were going to take, if they were going to be the fifth team in the draft, does that change at all because of the order with the Mavericks and the Spurs and then the 76ers and the Hornets in that order before them?
I don't think so. I don't think anyone changes the draft order specifically. I mean, obviously Cooper's going to go 1. Dylan Harper's probably going to go 2. Yeah, it's going to be some order of VJ Edgecombe or Ace Bailey at 3 and 4. I don't see that changing just because the 76ers and the Hornets are there now. Maybe Con Knippel because he's a little more NBA ready, I think, than some of these guys, even though he's still a one-and-done freshman.
His sizes weren't great today.
6'5". Yeah, I mean, he's a 2-3. He's what he is.
At 5, you're looking at Jeremiah Fears, the point guard from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Trey Johnson, the shooting guard out of Texas. Con Knippel. Kamon Malawach from Duke, Kasparis Yakachonis, the point guard from Illinois. That's that tier of players. Are any of those guys going to be franchise-changing players?
I think Jeremiah Fears is Isaiah Collier 2.0.
Okay.
Just kind of speedy
so
guard.
They've already
who
got
can't
that
shoot.
guy on the roster.
Common Malawach is Walker Kessler. So
right.
they've
already got that guy on the
roster. So
roster.
it is. It's Trey Johnson, it's Kasparis, who you mentioned, and I think it's Con Knippel. Those are the 3 names I would really focus on if I were a Jazz fan.
Con Knippel's name has been kind of flying up the board since the tournament ended, and he put his name in the draft. And so, what do you get out of a Con Knippel? Is it just the 3-point shooting, sharp shooting stuff? I don't know if he's
a 40% 3-point shooter, 90% from the line.
I said this on the Jazz Notes podcast that we record every Monday, and we're going to record tomorrow as a reaction to this. I think there's a legitimate chance he becomes the best shooter in the NBA when Steph retires. He's freakish as a shooter. Like, he's automatic. He might be offensively Klay Thompson. He might be that good of a shooter. And I know people think that's crazy. It's like, go look at Klay Thompson's averages. Like, he got to 21 points a couple of times. Like, there's a chance I think Con Knippel has that type of a release where he totally changes the game with his 3-point shooting. He shoots 91% from the free throw line. He was overshadowed a lot at Duke with Cooper Flag there. But great passer. You saw him throw a bunch of lobs to Common Malawach. So I was watching them. I thought, wow, that would look like a guy throwing lobs to Walker Kessler if he was playing for the Jazz. You see some of those things there. I really see it. I would say right now, I just tweeted it out, he would be my front runner for the Jazz, just based on my gut of what the Jazz have done. If they hold on to this pick, how they would address that. But I think this pick totally goes into the asset pile more than they value the fact that it's the 5th pick and whoever player is available.
That's a good point.
When you look at Ben, you and I were – it was on a Sunday last year when we had the lottery. I think you and I were on the air. And didn't the Jazz fall 2 or 3 spots there too?
Yeah, they were supposed to pick 8, and they fell to 10.
Yeah.
Because Atlanta and Brooklyn jumped them. And Brooklyn's pick ended up going to Houston, which was Reed Shepherd.
So, I mean, it's just a man, tell you what, don't have the Jazz lottery chances with you at the old crap stable because it is not good.
We're anticipating hearing from the Utah Jazz in their front office. Justin Zanik, their general manager, will likely hit the podium. But, I'm interested to see what they're going to say about it.
But, JJ, you mentioned this. Like, frankly, there was a 1 in 2 chance of this happening.
Yeah, like 47% chance, and it happened.
And the one thing we know about the Jazz, they are emotional. They do hope for really good things, but they are also very analytic driven. Yeah. And so I guarantee you they've already game planned for this and will continue to game plan for this. Ryan Smith mentioned the other day on the air, he's like, I got guys working out. So there's already workouts going on. I know that's under a veil of secrecy, unlike the previous administration. So there's already guys coming in working out. I don't want to go glass half full. We all felt like we got kicked in the nether regions on this thing. But again, we've heard a lot of people say, and Justin Zanik said this tons of times, that it's not about where you pick, it's about who you pick. And there's going to be somebody from 5 on that'll be an all-star. There will be somebody that'll be 5 on that will help lead a team to a title. It's just a matter of trying to find that guy and identify him.
Maybe it's Trey Johnson. Maybe this kid out of Texas who shoots 39.7% from three and 87% from the line with his athleticism. Maybe this is the guy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of buzz about him.
How tall is he?
6'6".
The problem is
He's 19 years old.
Is that you just like you've gone through Taylor Hendricks, you've gone through Cody Williams, and it's just like
how many first round lottery duds have the Jazz had?
And I'm not even saying they're duds. It's a long process.
But it's also we've been told the same thing. But look what this guy does. He's lengthy.
Yeah.
He shoots well. Hey, still no tweet from Ryan Smith. I'm like hovering over his account to see what's going on here too, just because
Look, one thing I've learned doing this job, and you guys have done it as well and learned as well, anything you've thought about or anything you've felt about, if you're a sports fan, the people inside that building have thought of it 2 months before you
Right.
and feel the pain 1,000 times more than you do.
You're right.
And I know you don't think
totally
that.
right.
I
You're
know
right.
you think, well, it's my money that's buying tickets. And look, it is. And that is actually your money going out of your pocket, and it's going in theirs. So there's a different dynamic there. But I promise you the pain they feel today, this last hour.
That's what I'm saying.
After what they just sacrificed the last year of not giving away players but losing games, the heartache, saying, trust us, trust us, trust us. I mean, this feels like a betrayal of that trust, right? You fall to 5.
100%.
This is what you're trying to go for. You think this is the best way to build your team, and then they don't get even a lick of luck to help them in this rebuild, and they're going to have to do it the hardest way possible, which, you fall to 5, could have fallen to 6, could have fallen to 7, had you not finished with the worst record in the NBA. You did, so you couldn't fall any further than 5. They recognized this was part of it, but, I promise you they are feeling this, and the reason why there's radio silence right now is because there's real pain there.
That's 100% what it is, right? I mean, I don't doubt that these guys. I mean, the blood, sweat, and tears is real, right, for all these dudes, and so and I bet Ashley Smith was there and just probably wanted to just run out of that room because there's no freaking way when you're sitting there and you're the representative of the team, and then they number 5 pick and they put you up on the TV screen. That's never a fun place to be in, right?
No,
that's always a tough spot to be in.
I mean, the GIF is still rolling around of one of the purest human beings I've ever met, Randy Rigby, dropping a swear word.
Yeah.
Again, the 1,000 times worse comparison is totally right.
Yeah.
But again, like you were saying too, I mean, we were just mentioning these possibilities, all of them kind of just out of pocket, like, oh, yeah, maybe the Mavericks end up getting with their 1.8% chance. Anyway, moving on, and you just kind of go, yeah, but that'd be terrible. Again, the number 5 pick isn't the issue. It's about it's about where Cooper Flagg is already high-fiving people. They're over. All these Dallas folks are throwing him some T-shirts on his way by, and at the draft lottery, and you're kind of going, man, I'm telling you. It just seems like sometimes we can't have nice things, but that's not actually true. The reality is that, like you said, I mean, this is the good news is, what is Danny Ainge going to conjure up now? What does Justin Zanik go? Okay, so I watch a lot of F1. You know what's interesting is listening to those guys on the radio. They got the analytics on these things are so crazy, and the numbers and stats are so bonkers. And then they'll go Plan G, and they're being dead freaking serious.
Right.
They'll say, "Let's go to Plan G," and they have it. They've gone through every scenario, and so they go, "Hey, why not? Let's try Plan E." You know what I mean? Like, let's go to that crazy scenario. We went down the line. Obviously, we wanted to use A, B, and C. It's a little bit easier, but the straight line, to a championship is not always exactly that. How on earth did the Detroit Pistons get to where they're at? Is it just because they got Cade Cunningham? That was a good start, but not necessarily the only reason. Does getting Victor Wembanyama 2 years ago suddenly make the Spurs a contender? No, it's a lot of other things that have to make it work to be able to get to that spot. It just so happens that they also got all those other pieces to be able to get there.
And now the number 2 pick.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
You think about two rookies of the year in a row. You could very well see them win 3 rookies of the year in a row if Dylan Harper has a year. If they take Dylan Harper and maybe Cooper Flagg, maybe gets injured or doesn't have a phenomenal rookie season or whatever. And we never know how these things are going to play out. But again, it's easy to see yourself as being the victim of all this. I'm hesitating to take a break, but we'll take a quick break here. Unless Alex Napolis, our producer, says, nope, give us 1 second here. We're going to try to get to the Utah Jazz and their front office. Justin Zanik is going to sit down at a Zoom call and it looks like they're just going to be getting to it in just a moment here. Before we hear from them, though, and before we get to that, and we'll go straight to it when we get it, with a scenario like this, does that mean also that that the draft assets that they have here, does it make it more likely that they would start to make some moves to even maybe get a second lottery pick, Ben, with the assets that they do have, a couple of second-round draft picks, and then that 21st pick?
Yeah, at some point you just have to ask how many young guys can you have on your roster? You know what I mean? Because here's the truth. This 5th pick is the best young player they're going to add. I mean, this young guy is going to be better than Keontae, or is expected to be better than Keontae, better than Taylor Hendricks, better than Cody Williams, better than Kyle Filipowski, like better than all these guys. So you have to really prioritize this person's development. They've got to get a lot of minutes. They've got to be out there. They've got to be drafted, and then you're going to start trying to fit pieces around them. You wanted the number 1 overall pick, but you tanked this season to get a top 5 guy and work around him.
Let's go to the podium on Zoom here and listen to Justin Zanik, the general manager of the Utah Jazz, who just got the 5th pick in this year's 2025 NBA draft.
Hey, Justin, just getting your general reaction. Obviously, this wasn't what you were hoping for, but what's the reaction after finding out number 5?
Sorry, Dana, we can't hear you.
Can't hear me? How about now? No? Nothing?
Hope you're a little quiet.
Oh, how about now?
That's better.
Okay. Justin, just your reaction to getting number 5. Obviously, not the number you were hoping for.
Sure. I mean, it's my second time being in the back room watching the lottery unfold. It happens really quick. It actually happens in the reverse of, how it's announced on TV. And so it was over pretty quickly. And this was always the most likely individual outcome that we expected and kind of prepared for, given that the flattened lottery are odds since 2019. So we were prepared that this is a very real possibility. And, we're excited to add a good young player to our team. We've got, the work we've been doing for the last 2 years on this particular draft. We get to kind of put plans in motion now and have a bunch of guys get into our gym and create a competitive environment to really evaluate these guys. This week at the Combine is going to be really, really productive for our staff, especially our scouting staff, to see these guys up close. We have Coach Hardy here and Danny and myself, along with our staff. So we have a bunch of interviews to do, get to see these guys and start talking to them in person and really start drilling down on the possibilities. In reality, this is another young player, an asset that we can add to our team. And this is one of the main reasons that we have decided to stay flexible and have a bunch of assets here to be able to move up, move down, and really put together pieces and find the right combination of players to take this organization forward. And the number 5 pick is certainly a part of that.
Anyone else?
I may have answered everything right there.
I'll go again.
Okay.
What's up, Dana?
Okay. Yeah, just me and you, Justin. How much hope did you hold out for that number 1 pick? I know a lot of Jazz fans were thinking this is the year. I mean, they never had it before. There's some disappointment right now among Jazz Nation. What can you say to alleviate that disappointment, to say that the rebuild is still on track? You could still get a positive guy here that can help this team, this franchise.
I mean, of course, everyone has high hopes. In reality, it was a 14% chance to get the number 1 pick. Frankly, another team, obviously, with a lot less odds than us, they were the first time they got the number 1 pick tonight, too. But the rebuild is on track. It always has been. Whether, we got number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, this is a good young player in a very, very good draft that we're excited about. And so take this opportunity that we've been given and make the best of it in terms of making the best selection that we can and make the best decisions to move this organization into a championship competitive place.
Okay, just double checking. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you so much, Justin.
Surprisingly, a small room of media members not asking very many questions of Justin Zanik. Well, he said what was on the sheet, which was tell everybody, hey, we knew that numerically this was the highest individual outcome that could happen from the draft. We're excited to get a young guy. We're excited to get some of those plans in motion. We're excited to work out some people ahead of the draft. I think behind those closed doors, when they get double closed and really locked down, and look, we aren't even close to the organization except for that we cover this team, and everyone's heads are down in this entire room. Am I wrong? Everybody feels gut punched. Everybody feels like you got robbed because it's not even the draft out. It's not even the draft lottery outcome. It's what this year kind of was on top of all of it, right? And I think that everybody knows, and they feel that where they go, so what was that all about then? What was the however many losses in a row that they had incurred at one point? I think it was an 11. Was there an 11-game losing streak at one point in the middle of the year when we all went, well, this isn't very fun to watch? And you said, yeah, but. And it was for today's moment. And the yeah, but didn't come, and it was not to be had. And by the way, fixing this feeling doesn't work, but I think that the rest of the internet has sufficiently reacted to Nico Harrison getting the number 1 overall pick. Like, come on, what are we doing? I'm on Scotty G's side. There's no way there's not something.
I'm trying not to go full conspiracy theorist tomorrow. I'm trying not to, but tomorrow at noon, I'm going to go full conspiracy theory.
You better get the whole thing going on because
just burn it all down and rebuild it.
Yeah, you got to think Dallas going Dirk to Luka to Cooper is like the Packers going Favre to Rodgers now to Jordan Love. It's just a run of having a guy at the right spot who's ready to help you win.
It wasn't just that. It was, we brought up the Spurs earlier too, or Hans did, where it was like David Robinson,
Spurs, man.
Tim Duncan, Victor Wembanyama, and
Dylan Harper. It might be an all-star point guard.
Yeah, it's so interesting because they've just added De'Aaron Fox. Now he can play off the ball too.
Dylan Harper running pick and roll with Wembanyama, throwing lobs to Wembanyama.
See, now let's make some rosters here because somebody tweeted out the Dallas one.
Dylan Harper and Wembanyama is an amazing match.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about this Dallas roster. If Kirry comes back from the ACL before the front end of the season, which I think timing-wise is
it'll be towards the end of the year if he comes back.
Okay, so let's say
probably mid-season at best.
Let's say he's out. So Derek Lively, Klay Thompson,
Anthony
Davis, Cooper Flagg. I don't know who would replace.
Spencer Dinwiddie or something.
Dinwiddie, I guess, yeah.
I mean, that's a good team. Okay. You get Anthony Davis if he's healthy. You get Derek Lively back. That's a good team. They're going to be able to make a couple of other trades around the perimeter. They do have that Lakers trade. The one draft pick they got from the Lakers, they can move around and try and go get a point guard or something like that. I've actually thought they should go after Colin Sexton. I think that would make a lot of sense for them. But, they're going to be good. That's another very good team. And you know what? I guess the one nice thing is that I don't think Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving are going to be around a long time. But you do have a very relevant team in Dallas now because they have Cooper Flagg for the foreseeable future.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We've been going long enough here for the result. When you go wall to wall, you hope for the big news. This is a different kind of big news, so here we go. We'll take that break here. Before we do, though, every Monday, DJ and PK roll out their Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealers Play of the Weekend. And if you heard what that play was today, and you give us a call right now, 801-575-ZONE, that's 801-575-9663, you can get yourself a gift card from Amazon, courtesy of the folks at your Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealers. Just give us what that play of the weekend was, as given out by DJ. It was actually DJ who gave it out, because PK, he wasn't there today.
No.
He won there.
No.
So
I blame PK. PK screwed with the
I messed with the juju of the lottery. All right.
Hey, do you think Rob Pelinka's reached out to Dallas yet?
Oh, my gosh.
Stop it. Stop it.
All right.
Hey, what's it going to take to get him off your hands?
We'll take a break.
I bet Nico would be dumb enough to make that deal.
We'll take that break. We'll come back. Your Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealer Play of the Week, 801-575-ZONE. We'll come back. More to go at the JCW's here in Harriman. 5251 Anthem Park Boulevard. We'll take a break, come back. More to go. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on the Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Well, it doesn't feel.
I almost did it again. I'm sorry.
Oh, you did? I almost
That was close.
No, listen. It's a reflex. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Hey, it's better than not starting at all.
I could have had a stroke. I could have had a stroke, and then we would have needed you. We would have needed you in that very moment.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have gone home, I don't think anybody would have blamed you.
Like, this is a very appropriate segment for best and worst because it just feels like worse right now. And, so the big news today, JJ, from the NBA Draft Lottery news desk, what do you have for us?
The Utah Jazz did not win the NBA Draft Lottery.
Is it you or Sam tonight?
Oh, it's me.
It's got to be him. Yeah,
I'm live here from JCW's in about 15 minutes.
See this camera over here?
Oh,
it's just going to pick up. I would assume we got some B-roll of some depression.
We were supposed to have a party here, and now
yeah. It's D-roll. When it's
still
depression,
come down here
D-roll.
to JCW's, who might be on TV at 6:20.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Your frustration.
Hey, best and worst, though, every day is brought to you by the incredible selection of Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram, and now Mitsubishi and the Doug Smith family of dealerships. Nobody knows cars like Doug. Okay. Final thoughts here, guys. Now, does this mean that you turn your attention to the
hockey?
I wasn't even going to go there, but yes, on top of that. But also the available names that could be out there. Does Giannis start to tempt Danny Ainge? Is Giannis even is that something that would even be a possibility for the Jazz to pull off, Ben?
I don't honestly. I think unfortunately today the fallout is you don't have the draft capital to make that trade make sense. Because again, if he truly hits the trade market, the Spurs will call. Dallas should probably kick the tires even with the number one overall pick, though I think they just hold on to the number one pick. If Kirry was healthy, I would have said you trade for Giannis. Kyrie's not healthy. You don't know if he's going to come back healthy. You don't know what another 9 months from Anthony Davis is going to look like health-wise.
Right.
So you just have your ticket after them with Cooper Flag now. But look, the 76ers should call as well. 76ers should call on Giannis. Like you're at the end of this run with Joel Embiid. He's barely healthy. You could probably try and put number 3, they got the third pick, and Paul George together to basically just get off Paul George's contract, and you give them not Tyrese Maxey, you probably give him Jared McCain, who would have been the Rookie of the Year this year had he not gotten hurt, and you hope that that's the trade to get you Giannis. That's a good package.
Yeah.
Here's the reality. If, let's say, Ben, the scenario plays out, they draft Con Knippel, the Jazz are right back here next year.
Oh,
we're suffering through another scenario like this. And this can become perpetual in this new collective bargaining agreement because the Jazz have no way out.
The hard part about
what's the way out here for the Jazz? How do you build a team in 2025 if you can't win a lottery like this for a generational player?
The Jazz were cutting it close with Lauri Markkanen's timeline. He's going to be 28. You're talking about drafting guys who are 20 years old right now.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge difference. That's 2 different timelines. It doesn't really make sense. If you're holding on to this 5th pick and you're going to make the pick and you're still investing in Cody Williams, you're still investing in Taylor Hendricks, and you're still investing in Isaiah Collier and Kyle Filipowski, I don't see how Lauri Markkanen makes sense anymore for the Jazz. So
I don't see how Colin Sexton makes sense at that point.
No, and those guys
or
are
any
all
of those
expiring
guys.
contracts. John Collins, Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson.
So you could
That's
very well
$60
again
million
be
in contract.
the worst team in the NBA next year.
Hey, we'll see you guys here next year, right here at JCW. Thanks for
Who are the Jazz going to pick 5th in 2026?
I mean, honestly, I think the trade you're talking about is those expiring contracts, John Collins, Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton, for Damian Lillard and a future unprotected future first-round draft pick.
Good night, everybody.
And you're not going to see him next year because, then you don't have to artificially not play those guys to lose games next year.
Boom! Everyone put our heads
no,
down.
you're right.
Truly all young guys.
That makes total sense.
And then you hope Houston will take Lauri Markkanen and send you Reed Shepherd and Jabari Smith and whatever contract to match. And then you truly have the full-on youth movement. No more messing around, sitting guys, resting guys. You've got to figure out who the star is going to be. You've got to figure out if one of these guys is a star because you are going to be here again in a year. We're going to be sitting here again in a year talking about this lottery for the Jazz.
All right. We'll see you then.
Can't wait.
Hey, just save your seat right over there for next year. We'll get you going. Speaking of where we are, we're at JCW's. We want to thank JCW's all day today being super good hosts. As usual, they roll out the red carpet. They do an awesome job. And if you have not brought your family to a JCW's recently, check it out. We were just told about an off-menu item, the California chicken sandwich. Come try it for yourself. You also got to get yourself any of their shakes, their burgers, all of it. The Burger Boys are phenomenal. We appreciate their support and allowing us to come do these parties here. So there you go. For JJ, for our producer Alex back at the studio, Brant hit the buttons here. And Jake, who hung out earlier, DJ, who hung out, Hans, and then, of course, Scotty G and Ben Anderson wrapping things up here with us. I appreciate you guys coming down. I really appreciate
our pleasure.
It's always a lot of fun. So, but don't want to miss any of it. Tomorrow, all the way across the station, we'll be having the same bickering sessions. So keep it dialed in right here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.